It began with a solemn tribute in Parliament. Dr. Malusi Gigaba's voice trembled slightly as he spoke. A reliable comrade and friend. He never bowed to oppression, nor did he ever cower, even in front of the apartheid death machine. The chamber fell silent. The red benches of Parliament felt colder than usual. The nation mourned, but beyond the grief, there was something else in the air. A question that no one dared to ask out loud: what really happened to Nathi Mthethwa? Because this was not just any man. This was Nathi Mthethwa, a struggle veteran, a political heavyweight, and one of the few remaining leaders who had walked the long road from the anti-apartheid movement into the halls of power. A man who had commanded the police, reshaped ministries, and represented South Africa on the global stage. A man who, for decades, seemed untouchable. Until now. When news broke that Mthethwa had been found dead under strange circumstances in a Paris hotel, the shockwaves spread faster than the headlines could print. A window forced open on the 22nd floor. No witnesses. No security footage. No clear explanation. Only questions and an eerie silence that grew heavier with every passing hour. Authorities called it a tragedy. Others whispered the word suicide. But for millions of South Africans, that word rang hollow. Too easy. Too rehearsed. They remembered Mthethwa as a survivor, a man who stood firm through political storms, who faced public scrutiny and scandal, but never ran from battle. Would such a man simply give up? Or was there something darker behind the closed doors of that Paris hotel room? In the months leading up to his death, Nathi Mthethwa's name had resurfaced in political circles, tied to investigations, intelligence briefings, and accusations of interference in high-profile police cases. He had been called to appear before commissions to explain what he knew and, perhaps, what he had kept hidden. Those close to him said he was preparing to speak. And then, just days before that could happen, he was gone. Coincidence? Or something else? To truly understand the magnitude of this moment, we need to look back at the legacy and the enemies that Nathi Mthethwa made during his career. When he was Minister of Police, he oversaw one of the darkest chapters in South Africa's democratic history, the Marikana massacre in 2012. 34 miners shot dead by police under his watch. That day changed the face of South African policing forever. And for many, it changed how they viewed Mthethwa. He faced years of criticism, inquiries, and allegations of political manipulation. Some accused him of protecting power instead of the people. Others argued he was simply a loyal soldier, carrying out orders from above. Either way, his hands were never fully clean in the public eye. As time went on, his role in other investigations raised eyebrows. Cases involving intelligence units, secret funding, and the quiet removal of officers who got too close to the truth. When he later became South Africa's ambassador to France, it was seen by some as a diplomatic promotion, by others as a political exile. And then, in 2025, he was found dead. A tragic end or a message? Because around the same time, 3 young police officers in Centurion were found dead in suspicious circumstances. Their deaths were ruled as under investigation, but no meaningful progress has been made since. Their families still wait for justice, and the nation is starting to connect the dots. Is it possible these events are connected? Was Mthethwa silenced because he knew what really happened, not just in his own past, but in theirs too? The whispers have grown into murmurs, and the murmurs into outrage. Across social media, South Africans are demanding to know: who is behind this pattern of mysterious deaths? Who is killing our people, and why does justice always arrive too late? For the families, the grief is unbearable. For Mthethwa's wife and children, the image of his lifeless body in that distant hotel is a wound that will never heal. But it's not just sorrow they carry, it's doubt. They've heard the stories. They've seen this playbook before. People who know too much die quietly, and the country is told to move on. But not everyone is willing to move on. Some insiders claim that Mthethwa had been preparing to clear his name, to tell his side of the story about what really happened inside the police ministry, who gave orders, who protected whom, and what he had seen over the years. He was reportedly gathering evidence, reaching out to trusted journalists, and writing a personal letter to Parliament. If that's true, his death may not have been random. It may have been a warning. Because in the hours before his body was discovered, his communication stopped. No texts. No calls. No sign of distress. Just silence. And that silence is now haunting the nation. It echoes in the chambers of Parliament, in the corridors of the SAP's headquarters, and in the hearts of South Africans who still believe in justice. How could a man who defied the apartheid state, who stared death in the face during the liberation struggle, be defeated now, in peacetime, in a hotel room far from home? Did you expect this twist? Could it be that the man who built the system was finally crushed by it? Theories are everywhere. Some say he was under pressure from powerful networks who feared exposure. Others believe he was depressed, exhausted by years of scandal, and saw no way out. But the evidence, or the lack thereof, only deepens the mystery. The hotel cameras had blind spots. The autopsy report remains sealed. And the officials who know the truth? They aren't talking. Meanwhile, the country is divided. To some, Mthethwa was a flawed hero, a man who served the system, but still loved his people. To others, he was part of the problem, a symbol of political decay and betrayal. But regardless of where you stand, one thing is clear. His death has ripped open old wounds and reminded the nation that the line between power and accountability is thinner than ever. Ordinary citizens are angry. They see a pattern, one that always ends the same way. Leaders fall, officers die, evidence vanishes, and the truth is buried beneath headlines of ongoing investigations. People are beginning to ask, is this how democracy dies? Not with bullets, but with silence? What would your community do if something like this happened there? Would they demand justice? Or would fear keep them quiet? Would you believe the official story? Or trust your instincts that something far bigger is being hidden? For now, all we have are questions, and a silence that speaks louder than any statement. But South Africans have learned one thing through decades of struggle. Truth has a way of fighting back. The legacy of Nathi Mthethwa is complicated, but his death might yet serve as a mirror, reflecting everything that's wrong with the country's power structures. This is more than a mystery. It's a wake-up call. Because until justice is done and the truth is known, we will keep asking the same questions. Who killed Nathi Mthethwa? What happened to the 3 officers? And how many more must fall before the truth finally comes out? If you believe South Africans deserve the full truth, not political spin, then stand up. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real stories that expose what others try to hide. Because justice delayed is truth denied, and in this case, silence may be the biggest crime of all.